feel like I'm in Florida right now. It was raining all morning, and now it's 90 degrees. I'm in a gosh dang sauna. But take the positive, increased blood flow. So, plan for today's arm day. I think you could predict it. I think you could probably just predict it at this point, because it's really nothing too wild, right? Triceps first, combination of rope, straight bar style pushdowns, single arm D handle pushdowns, and then machine dips. And then, eh, I probably won't even go too bananas heavy either, because for as many heavy sets as I do, like for as many, you know, attaching two cable stacks together onto one handle and then doing push downs like that, for as many sets like that, I think you've got to have an equal amount of, lighter squeezing sets where you kind of hit failure in just a different fucking style. Personally, I think I tend towards those heavier, harder sets, probably subconsciously just because they're easier for me. you know, for me to sit on a let's just take leg extensions for example. For me to sit on the leg extension machine and do a weight that's so heavy I can only get 12 reps and then I'm at failure, that set is over in 12 reps. Whereas, if I put the weight to something where I can do 30 reps, really slow, really controlled, and fucking burning my ass off, I'm sitting there, that's fucking killing me. So that's part of me is thinking I'm missing out on some stimulus because I only do the sets that I like to do, like those. Whereas some of the slower, longer burning ones are kind of getting a little bit neglected in a way. But all of triceps first, followed by all of biceps. Really, just because when I'm bulking up, I kind of really lean a bit more towards the idea of totally thrashing one muscle group before moving on to the next one. Because another kind of thing that'll happen, at least with arms for me, is when I'm like actually fully carved up and hydrated, if I'm doing tricep, bicep, and at the end of the workout my whole arm is fucking pumped, it's just too much. Like it's literally, I say that like a negative. It does, I do like it, but it kind of takes away from my ability to focus. Like if you're multitasking, I almost kind of feel like you're giving each task less attention than just focusing on all of one at once and then all of the other one. So for arms, I'm a bit more lenient. I don't mind a supersetted style arm day. For legs, I'm much more strict. You're not really going to catch me do, at least not often, hamstring sets, then quad sets, then hamstring sets. Back and forth like that. Just because it's kind of the same logic. I feel like by splitting up your focus onto two different muscle groups, you're getting the worst of both worlds. Like when I'm actually doing my working sets, I'm trying my best not to lose my pump while I'm actually doing that one movement. If I'm halfway through a back day and then, I'm talking to somebody and they really want to talk for, 10 minutes and I can't get away, well, actually, I don't really let that happen now, but let's say you're talking for like 10 minutes mid back day, guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose your pump, you're going to stop sweating, your heart rate's going to drop down to a normal baseline, right? Like I can imagine you've got your normal baseline heart rate, and then you've got your mid workout baseline heart rate. So me just sitting around like sleeping, I'm rocking around like 55 beats a minute, walking around more like 80, and then working out, which is kind of cool. I get to track all this shit now. The baseline's more like 100, 110. So mid set, I might get up to like 150, but then it comes back down. If I let it drop down to like 80 or 60 or whatever, then I'm out of the zone. So if you're going back and forth between muscle groups, I wouldn't I wouldn't want to do a tricep workout where I have like 6 minutes of rest in between some of the sets. So really, I'm just trying to say I like doing them all at once and then moving on, right? Finish your dinner before you have dessert. Kind of approach there. But I think that's all I got to say. Let's just get warmed up, and then I can't even really predict what the first tricep movement's going to be. I guess we're both going to find out together. So let's get in there. Reasonably light, really fucking hard squeezing, sort of cross body extensions like this. Perfect starter. Okay. One or two more. So the point with these is not necessarily like the fatigue that I'm feeling during the rep. What I'm really trying to maximize is when I'm down here in the fully fucking extended position, I'm trying to squeeze as hard as I fucking can, like I'm in The Exorcist, trying to bend my arm backwards. You can apply the same logic to leg extensions. I mean, your triceps are kind of the quads of the arm if you think about it. Okay. What do you think? Should I do one more of these? Or should I just immediately jump to machine dips? One more. Oh my god. Okay. Now, let's do some heavy machine dips. I think a heavy set of these machine dips should do quite nicely. And there's one thing that I always sort of would love if more people would think about on machine dips like this. It's, you're not really pressing. You're not pressing the weight down, right? The only thing I'm trying to think of is extending my fucking triceps, right? Just straightening out my arm. So by holding onto this and by having my shoulder be locked into place when I sit down, that extension just naturally pushes it down. But if you're sitting here and you're thinking about like hunching over and pushing, then you're just doing decline chest work. Now, if you're trying to work your lower chest, more power to you. But if you're using this for tricep activation, try to only activate your triceps. That's my tidbit piece of advice there. Well, let's get amped up. Gotta readjust my hands. A few more. No. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. One more. Probably a drop set as well. Ooh. Oh my god. Okay. So with these, I kind of like an inward fucking stance with my hands. So, the handle is straight. There's a portion where I could do dips like this, but it just makes me use a lot more chest and shoulder. Whereas if I turn my hands almost facing inward, then it's so much easier for me to feel like I'm fucking like scooping through the dirt like a fucking mole. And then I get all triceps. But let's do something heavy and nasty. Triceps are nearly done. Honestly, right now they're probably already fully pumped, but I know they can take some more damage and have it be beneficial. So let's move on to whatever that ends up being. Even if you don't have to do this fucking jerry-rig contraption to get a heavy enough weight for pushdowns, if you've got a set of arms like this, like a machine with these two kind of arm cables, I love this for pushdowns anyway. Like regardless of the fact that I can go extra heavy, but I like this so much more than normal because now I no longer have to fucking like duck my head to the left or the right of the fucking cable and like worry about like activating my right tricep or my left one more because the cables are underneath me, which is kind of a freaky thought in and of itself, but these are not going to break. Knock on wood. But let's throw this shit around in a controlled, squeezing manner. Yeah. 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 Take a second, make it a rest pause. Oh my god. Oh. Okay. I think that is a perfect fucking finisher. Triceps fucking fully cooked. Let's get some curls started. Yeah. I think some bent over concentration curls will be a good change of pace. I don't think it's a bad habit, but I've definitely got a habit of starting my bicep days off with just straight up dumbbell curls. Pretty cool movement though. I don't think that's a bad move, but you gotta change it up every so often. Holy shit. Holy crap. Let's just spam a couple of those. Now that set feels extremely different than just a typical set where you kind of call out at failure. There's those 5 extra assisted reps. Honestly, the increase in, let's just say, discomfort was more intense in those last 5 than those whole 15 in the beginning. But let's keep going. Same weight, just a 50. Holy shit. This is the last one. Oh my God. Holy shit. Those are fucking badass 3 sets of curls. Let's move on to something else. Maybe curl machine. I gotta catch my breath first. Oh my goodness. Let's throw the 55s around. Probably a rest pause. So many reps as I can. Now, failure may not purely be determined based on like, oh, I physically can't do another rep. Dude, fucking bicep curl starts to burn. So half of my, I'm sure half my subconscious reasoning for saying, okay, I can't do one more is the fact that it just fucking hurts. In a good way. Not in like a twingy, like tweaking kind of way. But 55s for as many as I can muster. Set them down for a minute. Breathe. Reoxygenate. Then burn out with a few more. Oh my God. Oh, those feel way too fucking heavy. I'm gonna make this a drop set / rest pause set. Grab the 40s. Oh my God. Holy fuck. I think that might be it. Fucking 4-set bicep day. Now, those first 3 sets were like assisted reps beyond failure, but the amount of fatigue I'm feeling, dude, I don't think any more sets would fucking result in any more growth. If anything, it might just fatigue my arms more than necessary. I'm out. Let's go post out. All right, I say this with fucking minimal to zero exaggeration. This feels like, just not even based on looks or anything or size, or this feels like one of my craziest fucking arm pumps ever. A plus fucking pump. A plus plus. I'm talking 100% plus 5 bonus points. I'm talking 5.0 GPA AP credit level pump. So let's just click and avoid the chit chat and check it out. Oh man. It's tricky for me to even like reach on and grab my collar from my fucking shirt. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I would definitely attribute the let's just say the lower volume of sets to doing 3 beyond failure self-assisted reps for those first 3 sets of biceps. Those were fucking, let's just say those were fucking damaging. But let's see how we're looking. This is fucking demonic for me. Holy shit. Oh my goodness. Look, there is no better feeling than being extremely fucking pumped based on your own fucking build. And what I mean by that is like my satisfaction right now, it's probably higher than it was as a beginner because I'm more knowledgeable. But the amount of fucking dopamine being released in my brain, because I get to look at myself, fucking do some flexes and say, oh yeah, I'm fucking pumped as hell. It's got to be pretty fucking similar to when I was a beginner. You know, I've got pictures. I didn't have a tripod at the time, but you know, I'm only a 3 month deep lifter in my school locker room gym, and I'm holding my phone doing a fucking side chest. I'm happy as can fucking be, you know? Like, that's the cool part about being pumped is you're looking at yourself in a fucking just leveled up state for whatever muscle you just hit. And that's just fucking crazy cool, man. You know, I've said this before. I'm gonna kind of restate this speech, but there's really nothing else like it where you have a good, productive day and you essentially get a glimpse of where you're gonna be in like potentially years, depending on your rate of growth. Like if you have a good day at basketball practice, well, I guess it could be the same shit, you know? If you're shooting hoops for 2 hours, you suddenly, for whatever reason, lock in. Boom, fucking 9 out of 10 threes, 20 of them in a row. You're in the zone, and it shows. You know, same thing with fucking having a crazy pump, man. You're seeing yourself in the future. If you continue working and continue growing, eventually, this is what I'm gonna look like just fucking unpumped. So that's fucking sweet for me, man. It's just a goddamn glimpse into the future of things. Oh. And then it's just a fucking cool feeling. But yeah, there is no there is no touching of the fucking shoulders with my fingers, not even close. Oh, that's a good little there's all sorts of different little levels. Like honestly, let's try to name drop some. I'm talking like achievements you get in the goddamn Xbox game. Get your first bicep vein, that's sweet. You do your first like side chest and you can actually see your first striations in your chest, sweet. You finally figure out how to do a lat spread and you don't just feel like silly, you actually get the gist of it. That's sweet. I mean, there's so many just little nuanced details, which to the uninitiated person, they don't understand the value. Like, you know, the videos where it's like, guys, nobody cares when you do this with your tricep. It's like, yeah, I know you don't care. But guess what? For me, it's fucking cool as shit. You know, this is fucking, oof. That's, they wouldn't get it. We know, me and you, we get it. They can't wrap their head around it. But nasty arm day, fuck, man. I mean, I'm not concerned that that was only 4 sets of biceps because the feeling that I got from those 4 sets, combined with the fucking crazy pumpedness of it, that's a fucking satisfying workout, you know? So that's why, in my mind, I kind of work out to a certain like level of satisfaction in a way, you know, because I've done, I think I'm coming up on like 2,000 lifts, but you know, at least a thousand and a half lifts, 1,500 lifts. I basically know the feeling of a good workout by now. Like I know what it feels like to have reached a level of like, okay, I've stimulated the muscle I'm aiming at. Any more work is going to be just not wasted, but just unnecessary, you know? Like if I were to sit on the treadmill and do my 30 minutes of cardio like I do, and like you should do, by the time I hit that 30-minute mark, I've got some cardio activation. You know, I've stimulated my system. I broke a sweat. I burned some calories. But there's not really much more need to do any more than that. I mean, for one thing, I'm not dieting down, but also it's just, you know, what am I supposed to do? 4 hours of cardio? Then I'm going to go into fucking rhabdo, man. Come on, that's crazy talk. If working out were such that the longer and the more sets you did every day, the bigger you got, these videos would be fucking 3 hours long because I'd be sitting there just pumping out like, all right, 50 set arm day, 50 set chest day. We're going crazy, 100 set back day. You know, that's not the point. In my mind, if I try to visualize how it looks in terms of, like imagine a graph, right? This is 0 to 100 effectiveness, right? This line is effectiveness. This line is volume. You know, so let's just say basic, straight, hard sets. Like every set you actually push yourself hard, it was a good set objectively. If you do 0 sets, you make 0 gains. You did nothing, right? You do one set, you're going to make more gains than zero, obviously. But you're not going to make peak gains, of course. It's still increasing, you know. I think one set's a bit low, right? As much as we all love Mr. Menser, one set's a touch low. And I think he even said the same thing. He's kind of aiming more for like 3 a week. But whatever. So one set is going to be more beneficial than zero. I think we can agree there. Two sets, two hard sets, I think is going to be better than one. I think three is probably going to be better than two. I think four is probably going to be better than three. But then it kind of gets into a little bit of an area where I think the plateau exists, where your workouts are such that if you actually push yourself hard, I think if you did like 4 really hard, nasty ass sets to like maybe 10 or so, that somewhere in there is probably the sweet spot. And that can change day by day. You know, like for whatever reason today, my biceps are in the fucking zone. I finished those 4 sets and I said, that is enough. We're done. Now, of course, that's based on my fucking, you know, definition of done. But I think it was a good bicep workout. But I finished the 4 and I'm like, okay, that's enough. But how many did I do for triceps? Like, what was it? 7? Nearly double the amount of volume. It's not so much that I'm aiming for a specific number, and I don't think you should really aim for a really specific number anyway. It's more so kind of aiming for a level of like, okay, that's probably enough. And I think that coincides with when you're fully pumped. You know, I'm not going to say that the two are directly related. You know, I could go to the gym and just grab the 10-pound dumbbells and sit here and pump out 10-pound reps of fucking curls and like overhead extensions with the 10-pounders. I'd probably get a pretty good arm pump. Does that mean I had a good workout? You know, not exactly. But as long as I feel, now this is my fucking opinion here, but I feel like as many hard sets as you can manage to do to the point where you achieve a certain level of fatigue and you're fully pumped, then I don't think that's a bad time to check yourself out and say, oh yeah, check out and literally check yourself out in the mirror on the pump check and say, all right, I've done enough. Let's go home. Let's start the recovery process. Voila, repeat, you know, gain as much weight as fucking possible. But that's kind of the reason I say that, and the reason it makes sense for me is because that's sort of the method I'm following, and I'm making gains. You know, the actions that I'm doing in the gym, along with my diet, along with everything else, is resulting in gains. So that's a fucking confirmation bias for me, where I'm like, okay, what I'm doing seems to be working. I'm going to keep doing it. And as long as it keeps working, then we're good. You know, we're golden. And that's the part which I think a lot of people sort of have a bit of a disconnect with. Because if you go to the gym for 3 months straight, your training is kind of meh. You're not really going that hard. You're doing a lot of fluff volume. You're not actually pushing yourself even close to failure. You know, you can do a set of 10 reps of curls. And if you're not even close to failure, you're doing a set, but I don't think it's going to be that fucking effective, man. I mean, to the point where I think that's just fucking exercise. But no, so you're training, your diet, your sleep, everything. You're keeping it about the same. You're not making any adjustments. And if you're not making any progress, if you're not stronger, if you're not bigger, if you're not leaner, depending on if you're trying to bulk up or cut down, but if no numbers are changing, if there's no results to the fucking work that you're putting in, then all that means is all this work, it's not for nothing, but it is just enough to maintain where you're at, you know? So you're basically in a tug of war. Your body doesn't really want to grow. You know, your body, apart from like being a kid and coming up into adulthood and reaching your final form of like an organism, your body doesn't want to grow. It wants to stay the same size, eat the same amount of food, do the same amount of activity every day, right? The body likes homeostasis. So in a way, you, the lifter, are in a tug of war with your body, trying to stimulate it to fucking grow, you know? So if you're in this tug of war and both sides of you are completely balanced and even, then all that means is all the work that you're putting in, trying to fucking pull against your body's natural desire to just stay the same size by like your kind of maybe subpar workouts, you're not tracking your protein, you're not pulling hard enough. And your body's fucking tough, man. Gains are not easy to come by. You know, this is like, this is the most time that I've spent doing anything apart from like, just going to school from like a kid to until I was done. But this is what I've spent the most time on ever, right? This is fucking hard. It takes a long time. So if you're in this tug of war and it's completely balanced and you're completely tied, then that means you got to add some more fucking strength to your side. You got to put some more energy into keeping your sleep on track. You just pulled back an inch, right? You got to start tracking your macros, get your protein in. Oh, you just pulled another inch. You know, you got to start training really fucking hard on a consistent basis. You know, take the occasional rest day, but do not be skipping your training sessions. Boom, you just pulled again. Now you're actually making gains. And what happens is the bigger you get, the more your body doesn't want to get bigger. Right? There's a limit. You know, nobody's going to get. I mean, I'm never going to get to 400 pounds lean, right? It's just not fucking possible. So the longer that you're making progress and the more developed that you get, the smarter that you're going to have to be to keep going faster. You know, and that's the same with anything, right? If you've got like I mean, just think about like F1. I'm not like an F1 fan or anything, but it's just a good example. You know, if all the cars start off in the exact same state, you know, maybe not the most aerodynamic, maybe not the most badass engines, maybe the drivers aren't really that trained or whatever, they're not going to go that fast. If they want to keep going faster, then they've got to optimize. And if they really want to go faster, they're going to optimize every possible detail that they've got control over to make that happen. You know, they're going to fucking train the drivers. They're going to do fucking computer analytics, make the car as fucking aerodynamic as possible, do some fancy pants like under body work so the car has more downforce so that it can, I mean, you get the gist, right? So all of that really just sums up to the more you put in, the more you get out. So the guys who are getting better gains than you, apart from the fact that, I mean, genetics are going to play a role. You know, if you get two guys doing the exact same routine, one guy might make better results because he's, you know, his appetite is more whatever. I'm not one to say like, oh, he's an ectomorph or he's a meso. It's whatever. All right, some guys are going to make gains easier than others. Right, deal with it. But for you specifically, right, the harder you train, the more you lock into your diet, you get a reasonable amount of sleep. I'm not talking your 3 hours a night because you stayed up till 4 a.m. on Discord. And I've been there. And guess what? It showed in my training. I wasn't making the fucking results that I wanted to. You know, so if you can fucking, you got to think, man, you're a boat. You're a ship. You're like a fucking tuna submarine underwater. You got to streamline your routine so you can slip through it faster. This is a real meeting of the minds here with these analogies. But you get what I'm saying, right? Go harder. You're going to do better. Boom. Let's get in the car. We're done. Maybe I should have busted out the measuring tape. Honestly, see what the pumped arm measurement would have been. I don't know. That one had to have at least begun to approach 20. Who's to say? Maybe save that for later. Save that for next arm day before we get some actual measurements going. But overall, quite the arm day. And apart from the machine dips were pretty heavy, and that finishing set was pretty heavy. But for biceps, like man, 55s at the most, and it was really just mainly that work with the 50. Very nice. I could have done that arm day at home. That was one of my. I mean, that bicep workout was fucking killer, and all I needed was a 50-pound dumbbell. I could have just done it with a pair of the 50s. And that would have been it. You know, maybe I should do another home gym arm day if they're going to be so simple. But yeah, don't feel the need to overcomplicate it too much. And arms gets a little bit of a bad rap, unfortunately, just because of its simplicity. Because that's the only real gripe I hear. You know, everybody loves chest. Everybody loves back. Most people don't like legs, but at least the people who do like legs like the fact that it's like, you know, you get to go heavy on squats. It's just, you know, it's kind of cool. But arms and shoulders, people kind of, I think, at least the general consensus that I've noticed is people say it's boring. You know, people say, oh, well, all you do is just a bunch of push downs and a bunch of curls. Oh, it's nothing fun. What are you fucking talking about? You know, I mean, that might be your experience. But as far as I'm concerned, if all I have to do is some push downs and curls, then that just means that I don't have to think about anything else except for the sets that are sitting in front of me. You know, with chest, I got to change gears. I got to load up a bunch of weight on a barbell or pick up some dumbbells and like throw them up into position. There's a lot of kind of moving parts there. Whereas with arms, If you gave me one really heavy cable stack, a couple of attachments, and then a rack of dumbbells, it's really all I would need for arms. Of course, I like preacher curl machines. I like what else? Hmm. Ugh. Like I like dip machines. I really like overhead tricep extension machines. Um, I'm not sure why they're so sparse in the gyms around here that I go to. Maybe I maybe gotta find a Craigslist one, and get it like delivered or something. But you know, as long as the movements that you're doing are hitting your targeted muscle in its entirety, don't feel like you have to do fucking 30 different movements in one workout. That's one comment that I'm sure I'll even get on this workout today. It's like you only did two movements for biceps. In one of those movements, you only did one set. Sam, that's not a complete workout. What are you doing? You may as well have stayed home and not even done it. I'm not so inclined to agree. I'm not so inclined to agree. I mean, I've had arm days where all I do is like just straight bar pushdowns heavy, 8 sets, whatever. Yeah, apologies. And then I move on to the dumbbell rack and I just, kind of go down the rack doing curls. Like start with something heavy. And then after a set of like, let's say I did the 70s for 10, I probably can't do the 70s for 10 again. So I just drop to the 60s, maybe get like 60s for 11 or 12 or so, and then grab the 50s and maybe stay at the 50s for a while for the next few sets. I mean, I'm going to have a nasty arm pump regardless. Don't get too well, don't get any FOMO that you're not adequately targeting the short head of your bicep and the long head of your, as long as you, with biceps especially, triceps is a little bit of a different story, but with biceps, don't get too freaked out about like, okay, well, I need to really target my brachialis with this set, and I need to really kind of target my bicep curls are pretty simple, man. No matter what kind of curl that I do, I feel most of my fucking bicep working. Now, sometimes I do like specific movements just because maybe if I've done some kind of heavier dumbbell curls at first, I might want to do something where I can actually kind of feel the outer like peak per se kind of firing. So then I might do some underhand bicep bias pull downs with the straight bar, or I might do kind of cross body curls like this where I hold like just the 20s and really burn out like that. But don't be, picking the right exercises is not going to be as beneficial for you gains wise as just going hard on all the exercises that you do. Keeping them simple. So, no need for any kind of fancy pants, real, multiple moving parts, different kind of Arnold press style. Come on, man. A basic set of heavy dumbbell curls, some heavy push downs, or some lighter squeezing push downs, like the start of the tricep workout today. And if my biceps weren't so destroyed, I probably would have done a set of lighter squeezing bicep curls to finish, probably on the incline bench. Oh, but you know, half of that's up to personal preference. Some guys might not love, they might not even like dumbbell curls at all. Maybe you're a fucking easy bar curl fan, ride or die, and you love doing fucking easy bar curls. Yeah, do it, man. As long as you're building your biceps, I'm not gonna knock you. Now, if you're not, if you're plateaued and you're, then I may be a little bit more critical, a little more critical per se. Maybe you're not a, maybe I can tell all your sets are RPE 5 at the max. And we've all seen it. We've all seen it where somebody is, they're in the gym, they're working out, and let's just say they're not really reaching a very high level of exertion, which inherently per se, it's not a crime. It's not a crime not to go hard in the gym. Nobody's gonna come knocking on your door and say, you had 10 reps left. Put your hands behind your back. But if your actual goal, and you're kind of saying this to yourself, it's like, I'm going to the gym because I want to get results and I want to push myself hard. The benefits, the underlying, maybe kind of hidden benefits that you get from becoming proficient in the gym in the long term I'm talking just getting more comfortable with your own body. You get kind of a just from doing anything physical on a consistent basis that requires actual effort and exertion. That's just going to be an overall confidence booster. Now, I'm no psychologist, so I can't necessarily explain in detail why that is, but it definitely is a fucking factor. But all the fucking cool parts of working out and being a lifter, those come in tandem with your responsibility to actually push yourself. So you can go to the gym on a consistent basis, but if you're not really putting in effort once you're there, you're just kind of meandering around, I think, at least. So I think that's my finishing point for today. You've always got more in the tank, more intensity, more dedication, more hype. It's always in there. It's just up to you to draw it out. But plan for tomorrow. Well, plan for tonight. Get the rest of my meals in. Have a good night's rest. Cardio in the morning. And then a nasty ass leg day tomorrow. Ugh. Nasty ass leg day tomorrow. Potentially a nap, honestly, after I get home and eat whatever I end up eating. I'm fucking sleepy. I'm uh I'm sure you're gonna see an increase in yawns. I'm always yawning when I'm bulking after a workout just because I'm sleepy. I need my rest. So cardio, legs tomorrow, a reasonable amount of carbs, fats, and proteins in between, and then we're well on track to becoming a little bit one step closer to being a real fucking behemoth, a real goddamn muscle monolith. So I'll see you tomorrow for legs, which I mean I can't guarantee it, but I'm 90% sure is going to be a nasty fucking leg day. So I'll see you then.